Welcome back everybody to another Palworld Raids video. Today I'm going to go over a long requested topic, and it is what do I think is the best raid pal, and I think it should come as no surprise for those of you who watch my videos that I bred, I'm no longer breeding them, but I bred the hell out of Paladius because I strongly believe that Paladius, as of the Feybreak update, is the #1 pal for raids, all raids. There's a couple of reasons for this. For people who are in the end game and have raided for a long time, this should be obvious, but we're going to go over them about why I think this. And despite the fact that Paladius is neutral, it doesn't really resist any elements in particular and takes extra damage from dark. It is still the #1 raid pal. So we're going to start with the big reasons. We're going to go over. I have an alpha here and a non-alpha, so I have both. So we're going to compare. The #1 reason why Paladius is the strongest raid pal comes down to the strength of neutral skills. Airblade and Holy Burst are both multi-hit skills that hit incredibly hard, and they are both neutral. And that is really what puts Paladius over the edge compared to other pals like Bastigor, Selene. Selene boosts neutral too, but it has its own drawbacks, which are bigger than Paladius's. It has its own issues. We'll get into that in another video. It puts it over things like Shadowbeak as well. And it's just the fact that Airblade is just so strong right now. And obviously Holy Burst is so good in raids. I mean, it's good against every raid boss except Bellinor, but even then it's still pretty good. And then Airblade obviously hits many times, have fast cooldown, have very high damage per blade. It's just a lot. And then the third skill you can dedicate to whatever you want to fight, whatever vulnerability you want to exploit. My army mostly consists of alphas, Paladius alphas. This is what they look like. They get up to 13,214 HP, a lot of defense. So you can see over here on the right, 2,600 defense, and in base it's almost 3K, so that's very high. And then the skills that I would recommend highly, I think this is the best build because of the way Paladius' stats are distributed, which is really important. You do want to go Diamond Body over Musclehead. From my testing, the performance is better with Diamond Body on this pal. A couple of reasons for that over Musclehead. #1, Paladius already has a very, very high defense, highest in the game. It's 145 defense stat, which is incredible. It's even higher than Shadowbeak. And that helps it compensate the fact that it doesn't have an innate damage reduction against a lot of things it fights. And Diamond Body boosts that further, so it's another multiplier on defense on top of the Legend one, so that's really big. And the fact that you're most likely going to be feeding them attack food anyway, and not defense food. So I do like to have the defense stat rounded out here. So this is the build that I go with. I bred over 12,000 Paladiuses at this point, and most of them are this build. Diamond Body, Serenity Legend, Demon God. If we somehow got another passive that does more damage or more cooldown reduction, it would be a tough call to make. I'd have to think about that and maybe create another video. But this is the build. This is the build that has had the best results. And at the end of this video, I'm going to add a Xenolord fight, Xenolord or Ultra fight using Paladius. I had a pretty good fight on stream the other day where we got minimal losses from the Paladiuses. And it went really well, and it's just the power of Paladius is just incredible, right? It's just unmatched. Now, that said, the drawbacks of being neutral type. Paladius is weak to dark attacks, some pretty dangerous dark attacks out there, sure, like Dark Wisp. I guess Astral Ray from Xenolord is kind of nasty, but not really. Like it only hits once, it's not that big of a deal. But besides Dark Wisp, there's really not a lot of dark stuff you have to worry about. And then Bellinor is kind of a joke at this point, because you outlevel her. So really, there's not really, like Xenolord, even Xenolord himself doesn't really have that many big dark attacks. Like the biggest ones are his Shadow Ball, which is a joke, Astral Ray, and then Dark Wisp. But really, Dark Wisp is a non-issue. It mostly hits one pal at a time, so it's not a big deal in raids. So really, right now in the current meta of things, AoE dark attacks are not really a problem. So neutrals are okay. And then obviously it's massive defense stat, and we're actually going to take one to the base here, so you guys can see its stats in base. So let's get over here. Okay. So the downsides of neutral are weak to dark, and then obviously the other downside that's pretty obvious here is going to be that it doesn't naturally resist any damage types. So these are the stats in the base with Diamond Body. Almost 3K defense, which is enormous, and 3,400 attack, which is fine. If you had Musclehead, instead of Demon Body here, then the attack would go up to 4,001 with a food buff. Let's make sure he's got Memorized Curry here. So with a food buff, he's gonna get up to I think it's almost 4,000. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so with a food buff here, if you had Musclehead, it's going to go up to 4,001. Which is, yeah, it's more attack. But honestly, in raids against a difficult content, there is really not that much of a difference between almost 3,500 and 4K. Like, it's marginal, really. So I don't really care too much about it. And you're going to be, most of the time, using food to buff the attack stat anyway. So I just have settled on Diamond Body, and I'm okay with that. So going back to the downsides, neutral type doesn't have an innate resistance to anything. And that includes, obviously it's weak to dark, but that includes very dangerous things that are out right now, such as Dragon. A lot of dangerous ice attacks out right now, actually. So things like Dragon attacks are really nasty. Obviously Meteor Rain is very nasty. You know, those things are out there, you have to worry about them. But that said, those attacks destroy, even destroy pals that resist them because they're so strong. So the case with the meta right now is that pals like Xenolord Ultra are so overtuned damage-wise that it doesn't really matter if you have a 30% DR against them because they're just so overtuned. They deal so much damage that you just need a high defense stat to resist them. And that's where Paladius comes in. So now we're going to get into things such as Holy Burst and Airblade and other dangerous attacks. Ooh, nice. Mimogs. So we're going to get into attacks like Holy Burst, which we've seen that raid bosses in Ultra versions, such as Xenolord for the first time, are getting attacks like Holy Burst. That is a neutral attack, okay? So when you're fighting against Holy Burst, you don't really have a choice in typing. Like, you can't say, oh, I'm going to build a pal that has a type resistance against it, because nothing resists neutral anyway. And then you have attacks like Stone Beat, which kind of are off kilter there, that are off elements. It's not what you would expect from a Dark and a Dragon pal. Guess what? If you're going to throw Dragon pals at Xenolord, they're not going to resist Stone Beat. Stone Beat is an incredibly dangerous attack. So there's a lot of elements being thrown your way, and when that happens, you can't resist all of them. So you have to make your typing based on defense and total stats, which is where Paladius really, really shines. So you're going to need a high defense stat to counter Holy Burst in the first place, and the only counter to Holy Burst is defense and having a good hitbox. Those are the only counters to Holy Burst. So here we've got an alpha and we've got a non-alpha. Just to compare the two, let's go ahead and get the non-alpha in here. So this is the non-alpha, as you can see, very narrow hitbox. So if you wanted to go for a non-alpha army of Paladiuses, these guys are not going to get caught by multi-hit attacks very often at the cost of 20% less HP. And then we're going to compare it to non-alpha. So you can see here the non-alpha, the alpha has is taller, a little broader, but the hitbox is still really good. I mean, these guys don't get caught by a lot of Holy Bursts. Like, if we're gonna cast a Holy Burst on the ground here and see the radius of Holy Burst. So you can see here that this Paladius right now will get caught by at most 2 things, maybe 2 beams, and then this non-alpha, which also has Holy Burst, casting Holy Burst here, would get caught by like a single hit of Holy Burst. So this pal right now is probably the best counter to Holy Burst that we got, as well as small pals. Small pals like Cholette Panking. If you guys want to go to my channel and check out the Panking video, I have footage of Panking surviving Holy Burst and taking like 1 hit each, which is super solid. I mean, that's just tremendous advantage when you're facing dangerous multi-hit attacks like that. So that is really my reasoning for why Paladius is the #1 raid pal. Just the sheer amount of elements coming your way and dangerous attacks like Holy Burst and Airblade just dominating everything else right now. Even when you get into attacks like Lightning Streak. Paladius has a good hitbox, a very good defense stat. So that's another thing in its favor. The Air Gust attack, so the default neutral attack is also really good. Pierces, and it's got really long range. Comes out really quickly. You're probably going to see it here soon. Oh, there's a Stone Beat. So just the way the mechanics play out, things are looking good in Paladius' favor. So that is why, the test stat total plus the hitbox, plus the fact that Airblade and Holy Burst are so dominant right now, I think that puts Paladius over the edge as the #1 combat pal. And then for number 2 and 3, it would be a close tie between, I think, Shadowbeak and Bastigor. Those 2 would be up there, but I guess that's a topic for another video. But yeah, pretty straightforward. So we already covered the build. Let's go over the stats again. As we saw, that this is with 100 IVs and attack food. These are the best passive skills. For the 3rd skill, you're going to use whatever counters what you're fighting. So they could be Absolute Frost if you're fighting a dragon, This guy, I taught him Flame Funnel in case they're facing an Ice Pal or a Grass Pal. So this third move here is going to match whatever element weakness you're exploiting. In this case, this guy has a Lightning Streak, so he would be a counter to Water Pals. So that's how Paladius works out. It's perfect. Like you have Air Blade, Holy Burst, and this strong third move. Get rid of these guys. Alright, so I think that about covers it. We went over Hitbox, we went over Alpha and non-Alpha. I think both work. I think going for Alpha is worth it because of the purpose of Paladius is to be a tank. So I think going for Alpha can be worth it. We went over the best passives. So for a tower, if you want a tower killer, this is going to be the build. This is my tower killer Paladius. It's just you replace Diamond Body with Vampiric and go to town with a Kremis build or something. This build can kill every tower boss. You just have to be mindful of dodging dark attacks. So yeah, that about covers it. I mean, pretty straightforward. I will cut it here, and we're going to jump to a raid battle where I throw pure Paladius at Xenolord Ultra just to showcase the power in the numbers. And you can also take a look at my Xenolord Cave video where we go over how strong Paladius is even in close quarters against the strong AoE Pal. But yeah, that about covers it. I mean, I guess we could go into the typing, but like I said at the start of the video, it doesn't really matter what raid you're facing because the typing is completely irrelevant. Bellinor is dark, Paladius slaughters her. Blazamut Ryu is Dragon Fire. Guess what? Paladius slaughters it. Regular Xenolord is Dragon. Blazamut Ryu is Dragon Fire. Xenolord regular is Dragon Dark. Guess what? Paladius slaughters it too. Xenolord Ultra. Guess what? Paladius also slaughters it. Sure, you're gonna need a lot of them, but that's the thing about the Ultra battles. The Xenolord Ultra battle is so overtuned that you need a lot of every pal to counter him. Because the counter Xenolord Ultra, aside from cheese, like pal pods and stuff like that, is just sheer numbers. So if I'm going for sheer numbers, I might as well just throw Paladius at it and overwhelm him with that stat advantage. So it doesn't matter what raid you're facing, what tower boss you're facing. Neutral damage is neutral damage. It just works out to be a very well-rounded, solid counter to pretty much everything the game can throw at you. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It's not, nothing too complicated, not a lot of theory crafting involved. It's just the numbers and the way that neutral damage works out that it just has a tremendous advantage. Now that said, Paladius does have some downsides. It is not immune to any status effects. But frankly, aside from, I guess, burning and freeze, it doesn't really matter. Like, Ultra Raids are so overtuned at level 60 from the looks of it that it's just not something I care about very much, right? Anyway, so that's how I look at it. Oh, this is beautiful scenery down here, by the way. So let me know what you guys think. I have extensive footage of Paladius in action against pretty much every raid, just annihilating everything on this channel. And obviously, we don't really need to get into the fact that Paladius learns Absolute Cross naturally, which is a pretty good skill. And might be useful in the future for AoE clearing, so there's that. But yeah, those are my reasons, and I can back this up with footage across this channel, why Paladius is the #1 raid pal. It is not Bastigor, even though Bastigor is a very hard counter to Xenolord. Yes, Bastigor technically might be better against Xenolord, pound for pound. But if we're going to talk about the #1 raid pal for everything right now, it's Paladius, 100%. It's not Euromantide, it's not Shadowbeak. Shadowbeak is very, very strong, but the prevalence of dark attacks, I think, kind of takes the #1 spot away from him. If we didn't have prevalence of dark dragon damage, going out in every raid, then I think Shadowbeak would take it. But that's the story for another day. As things stand right now in Feybreak, that title of #1 raid pal and #1 combat pal, I think overall, is going to go to Paladius. I'm going to hide behind the shield here. I don't want to get shot too hard. But yeah, that's going to do it. Please let me know what you guys think. We're going to leave you guys off here with a Xenolord Ultra fight, and you can judge for yourselves. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next video. Enjoy the fight. It's a much more fun way of doing it. Holy burst. What are you looking at me for? Look at that. Paladius is tanking Stonebeat like champs. Look at that. You're unstoppable. Okay. Still haven't had to replace them, by the way. They're still going. The same group of Paladiuses are still going. Ooh. There goes Paladius. Sorry, there goes fuck. Decided to do this right here. Come on. Going on me. Okay. Oh my god, again? Spammer. Okay, cool. Stonebeat. Ah. See what's coming? Fireball. Just focus on the boss, honestly. Focus on boss. Forget about the ads. Or actually, maybe that's a mistake. Not sure how long Paladius are going to last. They're still healthy, though. Yeah. Okay, that was a good kill. Pretty good. Didn't need to worry about the ads at the end there.